Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head over to Maine in New England in America once again, and we're going to do my second visit to Allagash Brewing Company, who are from Portland. And this is a beer that I'm quite interested to try actually. There's a lot of these table beers kind of popping up these days. So this particular beer is called Hoppy Table Beer. It comes in at 4.8%, and according to the Allagash website it's supposed to kind of follow the traditions of having a lower ABV kind of sessionable beer at the table when you're drinking dinner and things, but it's a very highly rated beer. This has got 94 overall on Rate Beer and 99 within the Belgian ale style category, and it's one of the top 50 Belgian style ales in the world apparently, so it should be an interesting beer. My last experience that I had with Allagash was really positive. That was the black, which was a really kind of interesting Belgian style stout. This brewery of course are quite famous for their Belgian beers, but hopefully this is another beer that kind of follows in the same footsteps as that. So as always, I hope you guys enjoy my take on this beer, and I'll take you through a little bit of a history of the brewery. So if you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Allagash before. No doubt I will do some more in the near future. I do have one more beer to review from them, and beyond that I'm not quite sure how long it will take. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the home page and search for beer based on country, city or state, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the American beers that I've reviewed for you, and that's constantly being added to. And as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Allagash Brewing then. So Allagash were founded by Rob Todd back in 1995, and as I mentioned to you, they're based in Portland in Maine, in the very northeastern corner of the United States. So Rob had worked in a number of breweries before he founded Allagash, and at that time he recognised that Belgian beers were really particularly hard to find over in America, so he decided to focus on these. So he established a small 15-barrel brewery and began brewing the Allagash White in the summer of 1995. So now they have quite an extensive range of Belgian style beers. This includes the White, they've got the Saison, the Black, which you've seen me review before, the Tripel, the Double, and also the Curio as well. And since then they've also added other series of beer to their repertoire as well. So they've got the Tribute series, which are brewed to commemorate local organisations and things like this. They've also got the Cool Ship series, which uses an old Belgian method of spontaneous fermentation, and they produce a number of cask-only beers as well, and they are starting to experiment a little bit more with the more sessionable beers and things like this. So it is actually quite cool to come across this brewery that are brewing mainly Belgian styles of beer. It's not something you come across too often in Europe actually, other than in Belgium itself, so it is cool to see a brewery really experimenting with these Belgian styles of beer, and hopefully more in different places around the world will start to do that. But yeah, that's all you need to know about the brewery for just now. If you want to read a little bit more, make sure you check out the brewery website and stuff in the description below. As far as I understand it, this brewery, they don't actually have a tap room or a tasting room, which is quite unusual for a brewery, but you can go up to the brewery and do different tours and things like that. If you phone them up and arrange a tour in advance, they are quite happy to show you around. So all the details and stuff of that are on the website below, but let's get on to the tasting of this beer itself. So yeah, like I said to you, 4.8% Belgian style ale. This one, the hops in this, it's hot with Chinook, Cascade, Comet and Azaka apparently, so a really interesting blend of things there. I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork on this. I'm just checking that you can see that on the camera control. I do like the kind of almost retro style graphic that's coming off of this one. You can see on the top here, notes of stone fruit with a hoppy balanced finish. There you can see the little top label, and there is the Allagash Brewing bottle cap on this one, and you can see that quite clearly. So yeah, let's get this guy out then and we'll get on with the tasting. Definitely looking forward to this one. So yeah, nice smoky opening there. You can smell some of the Azaka, you can smell some of that tangerine note from the Azaka coming out of this beer as you open it up. But there we are, out and into the glass. So as you can see with this one then, it's poured a really kind of bright yellow colour actually. That's a really almost lemony, citrusy yellow. I wasn't quite expecting it to be that colour. There's a solid finger of a frothy, pretty much perfectly white head on that. The beer is pretty opaque. If I put my fingers behind it, you can see it is actually really quite opaque. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, one or two little bits of sediment just floating around there, and quite a few little bubbles just heading towards the bottom of that head there. But overall, it looks really nice. I'm just surprised at exactly how bright that beer is. That's one of the brightest yellow beers I've actually ever seen from memory. So let's take a closer look at the aroma then and see how we get on. Oh yeah. So with this one, you can smell that Belgian bready yeast You can smell that nice bready sort of clovey kind of thing going on with this one. You can feel that just underpinning the beer. A little bit of biscuity sweetness as well, I think, coming out of it. But the way the hops come out is really nice too. So you're definitely getting some tangerines and some sort of pineapple-y notes. That'll be the Azacca coming out. And underneath that you can pick up a little bit of the grapefruit. The Comet and the Chinook. The Chinook's going to give you a nice sort of piney resin thing. Whereas the Comet's more, it can sometimes have a little bit of a citrusy character, sort of grapefruity thing to it as well. But that's more of a floral hop, that one. But with this beer, it's definitely more of a kind of tropically note that's coming out. It's the tangerines and the sort of pineapple notes, which will be the Azacca, that are really giving it its aroma. You can get a little bit of the Cascade, the grapefruit and things like that out of it as well. But really, it's the Azacca that's kind of coming to the fore in this one. They did say that it was dry hopped, I think, with Comet and Azacca at the end. There is a little bit of an almost lemony, citrusy character to it as well, which is quite interesting. But overall, it does smell, it's quite an unusual one, this. I like that sort, I always like the smell of these kind of Belgian IPAs, and this beer kind of reminds me a little bit of a, it's almost like more like a Belgian blonde, but just with these American hoppy characters. So it should be really quite interesting. If memory serves me correctly, this is the first kind of sort of table beer that I'm reviewing for you on the channel. I know the Kernel Brewery in London does quite a lot of variants of the table beer, but I think this might actually be the first one I've tried. For some reason, I've just never got around particularly to trying this type of style of beer. But let's get stuck into this one. So this one's the Hoppy Table Beer from Allagash Brewing Company up in Portland in Maine over in America. Thank you once again to my parents for giving me this beer. Slàinte, skål. Yeah, that's pretty nice. I mean, you know, it's pretty much what I was expecting. It's got that nice Belgian bready base to it, and it's got a good bit of hoppy bitterness just to back it up, but it's light and it's drinkable. You know, it's pretty much everything. As I say, it's pretty much everything I was expecting it to be, but it's just nicely done. There's not much more you can ask for from it. And it's really quite refreshing as well, actually. I do like that about it. So yeah, with the malt base on this one, as I always say, you get that nice kind of bready character that just blankets the middle of your tongue. You can feel that slightly thicker, doughy, Belgian, bready, yeasty kind of character coming out of it. Right in the middle of the palate, I think there's a little touch of a biscuity sweetness, but as the flavour kind of mellows out, you do get an almost little bit of a kind of grainy character coming out, but it's that nice doughy, bready, Belgian yeast flavour that dominates this beer, which is what you'd expect when it's a Belgian style beer, of course. And when you sugar the beer around your palate a little bit and your mouth adjusts to it, you do start to get these kind of subtleties of the American hops coming out as well. So in the back corners of the palate, there's a tiny little bit of earthiness there. As you come further forward along the sides of your tongue, you can feel there's a little bit of that darker piney resin that you'd associate with the Chinook, and as you come right to the kind of front of your tongue, around the front corners of the palate, that's where the more kind of spicy, floral aromatic note that you'd expect of the Comet is as well. Round the very front curve of the palate, it's a little bit lighter and grassy, and there's a wee kind of touch of a lemongrassy note in there, and behind the front curve of the palate is where some of these tropical fruit notes are coming out. You can feel in that little oily bubble with the esters, you can really feel the kind of grapefruit from the Comet, the Chinook and the Cascade sort of underpinning this beer. And as the beer kind of mellows out, as you go into the aftertaste, that's when you start to get the more kind of complex tropical fruits from the Azacca. Yeah, if you focus on the front of your tongue there, there's a little bit of a kind of, you can pick up some of that tangerine note, and then it mellows out a little bit and you start to get a little bit of an almost pineapple-y character as well. You've seen how long it was since I took a sip, and I'm just starting to get that pineapple-y character now, but really it's the sort of grapefruity notes that are just underpinning the beer. But overall, it's really nice. It's just everything in this beer goes together quite well. It's all about how the flavour combines, but it's meant to just be a nice, bitter, but sessionable beer, and it ticks all the boxes basically. It's just a really well done beer, and I can see why it's quite highly rated. In terms of recommending this in comparison to some other beers, it reminds me a little bit of the Leon from Omnipollo. So those of you watching in Europe, this beer is quite similar to that. It's just got a different hop profile. The yeasty qualities, the sort of Belgian yeasty qualities in this one aren't quite as kind of sweet. The sort of bready character and doughy character isn't quite as sweet in this one. This one's a little bit more of a kind of smooth, almost paleo, with a very slight biscuit to it, albeit it's a very kind of it's more of a smooth malt base on this one. But if you're watching in Europe and you're not able to get this beer, if you like the Leon from Omnipollo, this is one I think that is quite similar to it actually. I think Leon, I might actually have told you lies earlier in the video. I'm not sure if Leon is supposed to be a kind of table beer type beer, but that's probably what this one is quite close to. And it really does remind me of that a little bit. Good point. So I apologise for telling you lies earlier in the video, because the Leon probably is a table beer actually. But in terms of the mouthfeel, this one then, it's light to mid-bodied, somewhere in the middle of the two. It's got quite a wet mouthfeel more than anything, I would say. The carbonation does have a little bit of crispness to it, but normally when you're using Belgian yeasts and things, you do tend to get a little bit more carbonation coming out of the beer. Good little bit of hoppy bitterness. The malt base mainly is quite smooth. It's not got very much sweetness to it. And there's a good little bit of a juicy fruity character to this one as well, but the grapefruit kind of underpins it and keeps the fruity side of the beer quite dark. So it's been really interesting to have a go at this beer actually. Like I said, I apologise for telling you lies that I'd never tried a table beer, because as I say, it reminds me a lot of the Leon from Omnipollo that comes in the bigger bottles. So if you like Leon from Omnipollo, I'm sure you'll quite enjoy this beer as well. That's probably the European equivalent to it actually. But in terms of Allagash's beer, I've enjoyed this one. I enjoyed the black, and you will see me review another beer at some point in the fairly near future from them. But this was a really nice one, and I recommend you have a go at it. I do like the sort of tangerine notes from this one, and it's just a nice sort of sessionable kind of dinner drinking beer, which is exactly what it's supposed to be. So yeah, been really interesting to try this one. As always, let me know your own thoughts on it in the comments section below. Thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Check out my social media, and do let me know some of the other Maine beers and breweries that you guys would like me to check out, and let me know your favourite beers from Allagash as well. But as always, support your local craft breweries, and thank you once again for watching my beer reviews. The Hoppy table beer from Allagash Brewing Company up in Portland, Maine, over in America. Thank you to my parents for giving me this beer, and until the next time, it's Slans just now. Cheers.